what would you say now about what makes Zen Zen? You know, what would you say to someone who is exploring paths and wants to know what distinguishes Zen? You know, what is it about Zen that really drew you, that has
Yeah,
continued to draw you, not one of
yeah,
those perhaps false enticements?
yeah, sure. Even back in the day, some of these things drew me. Number one, it's a do-it-yourself, self-verified practice.
Yeah.
You don't, you have to take things on faith for a little bit and try them out, but then you check them against your own experience. So it's not, ultimately, you don't have to believe anything that you can't experience for yourself. That's number one. Number two is it has a sense of humor. It's not sanctimonious, even though it can look um, very orderly and things done just so in the Zendo, and people can be intimidated by that. That's really not what's underneath it. You know, I've had close relationships with my primary teachers who were Jerry Shishinwick and John Daido Luri, and I could always protest or argue or make a joke about an aspect of the practice, and it was always okay. You know, they might have a different point of view, but it's allowed, you know. And I don't think I could have survived in a practice that didn't have a sense of humor and that couldn't poke fun at itself, you know. So those two things were big. The third thing is there's no fixed rules of conduct.
Mm.
Even though there's the precepts that are interpretable. And of course, that gets some Zen people in trouble because not everybody does well without, you know, with a complete um, uh, open-ended book of how one behaves. I mean, they're definitely strong. Well, there's the precepts and there's strong emphasis on ethics, but in the end, they're always flexible. So
Mm.
we can always make our own choices within them. I think those three things, the freedom inherent in it, the do-it-yourself aspect, and the sense of humor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I really resonate with all three of those as well, and
yeah,
particularly with the freedom aspect. You know, it was something that within myself I was looking for, and so the language around liberation and freedom from suffering, although I didn't know it as suffering in my early days, uh, until I was made aware that it was suffering.
yeah, that's right.
The language of liberation was always extremely resonant for me.
Yeah,
My response to that question, and you had your three qualities, and my three qualities are directness, which maps to your first one, that immediate experience. You know, it speaks
mm,
to direct experience, and that was always important to me. And then the other two have been simplicity and intensity
mm,
are the two. Then the ethic of nothing extra
mm,
really sang to my soul
mm,
because I yearned for and still yearn for wisdom and truth, and I understand wisdom and truth to be simple, actually, right? The bare, immediate, what's right in front of me. When I see something directly and I hear it expressed simply, I feel the truth of it, something
mm,
authentic about that. So that, and that is very much, you know, Zen spirit, very much Zen
mm,
spirit, even more so than pretty much every other form of Buddhism and pretty much every other form of organized, you know, spiritual practice, as far as I know.
mm,
So that was a unique quality. And then the intensity is the third one, and that's something that I think those of us who have been practicing for quite a while, know that the energy that we cultivate within ourselves individually and collectively is something that's a very big part of Zen practice. There's nothing about, well, I'll cover that 2 lifetimes from now.
yeah, yeah, right.
It's this lifetime, this moment, right now, and that for me was very resonant and also is a unique part of Zen and what makes the Zen Zen for me.
Mm.
Yeah.